So a lot of people on YouTube are talking about how much money they make as a full-time content creator. But very few people are exposing not only what their revenue was, but also what their expenses and therefore their take-home profit was. Which makes sense because revenue tends to be the big, more impressive number. I have personally never shared this information before, even in my various videos talking about my income streams, but today I finally am. Today I'm gonna expose what my take-home pay was as a full-time content creator in 2023 from a business that generated over $500,000 in revenue. By the way, hey, if you're new here, my name's Katie and I'm a full-time content creator, a creative agency founder, and a part-time van lifer. Okay, now that we're a bit more acquainted, I feel more comfortable delving into my personal financial details with you, so let's get into it. All right, we're gonna start at the top and work our way through everything. We start with revenue. Revenue is the total amount of money coming in. But then of course we need to subtract our expenses. Basically, what it costs us to generate that revenue. When you take revenue minus expenses, you get profit. But we're not done yet because we need to pay taxes on that profit. Finally, once we're done with taxes, the final result is your actual take-home net income. And yes, I'm gonna show you the real numbers throughout, so get ready for a lot of charts and graphs. In the past videos you've seen from me on this, I've talked about this annually because that's what makes sense to most people, hence my title about the $500,000 in revenue. To prove my point, here's a screenshot from my QuickBooks. This is my profit and loss statement from calendar year 2023, but today we're gonna be properly financial and talk about things in terms of fiscal years. My business's fiscal year is from September 1st to August 31st. Here we're looking at fiscal year 2022 to 2023. So yes, it is a little bit less because when I speak about this annually, I'm also counting the income from September to December of 2023, which obviously is not counted in this fiscal year. We have to talk about it this way because this is the timeline in which I pay corporate taxes, but we're gonna get into that a little bit later. All right, I have talked about this in depth before on other income streams videos, so we're just gonna breeze through it, but I do think it's important that I talk to you about how I make this money. And by the way, all of the numbers I'm saying in this video are in Canadian dollars. And this is the current conversion rate to US dollars in case that's helpful for you. Okay, first we have brand deals. As you can see, brand deals is a pretty significant slice of the pie, coming in at $147,408. This in particular was a really big increase for me from 2022 to 2023, and it really has changed like my entire business. All right, next up we have Creatorly Media, which is my aforementioned creative agency. We provide services to content creators and influencers like YouTube video and podcast editing, and in this fiscal year, we generated $178,630. By the way, all the details about that are at creatorlymedia.com if you're interested. Next up, we have digital products. That includes stuff like the sale of my course, the Instagram roadmap, and my content creator starter kit, which is like a bundle of Notion templates, Lightroom presets, and other stuff like that. And it generated $44,663. Next is one you're no doubt familiar with, YouTube AdSense. Those are, of course, the ads that play here on my YouTube channel. That accounts for $34,012. Okay, I know it might look like this pie is full, but there is a tiny little sliver left, and that is my affiliate marketing income. And in the 22-23 fiscal year, it generated $11,484. Okay, so with all of that considered, the final total was $427,075. Now see, this is where a lot of creators will end up saying, oh, I made $427,000, which is not untrue. That is how much revenue they generated, but we're gonna go a little bit deeper because this is not what actually ends up in my pockets at the end of the day. As they say, you need to spend money to make money, and so let's look at my expenses. My total expenses for the 22-23 fiscal year was $206,217. Here's a screenshot showing you the full scope of that, but this is the breakdown that matters. The vast majority of that comes down to me paying the team at Creatorly Media. Remember those services that I talked about before? Yeah, so I have a small agency, we edit podcasts, we edit YouTube videos. It costs money to get people to do that, and obviously I'm not doing it all by myself. So shout out to the Creatorly team for the awesome work that they do for our clients. The vast majority of my expenses go towards paying them. Honestly, the rest is just kind of a mishmash of subscriptions, bank fees, my phone bill, paying my bookkeeper, my accountant, my lawyer, some travel stuff here and there. I did a whole video breaking down all of my expenses if you're curious about it, but I think the main takeaway here is that when you have a business that involves hiring people, that is always going to be your biggest expense, which for the record, I am very happy to do and I think is well worth it. It's very important to me that the team at Clearly gets paid fairly for their work. So to me, it just makes sense that the pie chart looks like this. Hey, just a quick second request for you. If you're enjoying this level of financial transparency, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Okay, let's keep going. Now, as I was saying, expenses like this are going to be an essential part of any business. It's what helps you grow and keeps you from burning yourself out. I really used to feel like I shouldn't hire anyone to do something that I could just do for myself, because really I should just work harder and get it done. But as you can imagine, that was not a healthy approach. I have a much different approach now. Now I understand the power that delegating has for not only improving your business, but also improving your mental health. And also, imagine this, it might even improve the quality of work that gets done because you can outsource to people who are better at it than you are. I know, maybe hard to imagine for those control freaks among us. So if you're at a stage in business where you're considering outsourcing, first of all, I just want to encourage you to do it because hiring people changed my business and my life. But I also want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Penji. Penji is a graphic design agency with talented and skilled designers that you can have unlimited access to for one simple subscription. For just one monthly fee, you can request unlimited designs. Here's what I love about this. Penji makes professional design services accessible to small business owners and solopreneurs. When you know you need more than your own DIY design, but you can't quite afford to hire a full-time designer yet, Penji is there to fill in the gaps. And Penji only hires skilled and qualified graphic designers who work on salary, so they're not competing for gigs or one-off projects, and you get to work with the same designers again and again so they can get to know your brand. I recently got designers from Penji to redesign the cover of my free resource, the Gear Guide for Content Creators. I submitted my current ebook design and then I just kind of told them to run with it creatively. I mentioned that I love the look of hand-drawn doodles and I told them a little bit about my audience, and this is the adorable cover art that I got back, and they sent it to me within like a day or so of me submitting my request. At Penji, you get the reliability of skilled salaried graphic designers with the affordability of a simple monthly subscription. So if you are ready to outsource and you want to get the Penji designers to help you on your next project, you can get 15% off your first month when you use the code Katie or click my link in the description. And thanks again to Penji for sponsoring today's video. We have now arrived at my business's profit, which if you've been doing your own math, you will already know was $220,858. Don't worry, I don't expect you to do your own math. I mean, I wouldn't either. It's just a YouTube video. Quick reminder of how we arrived at that. We started with my profit, which was $427,075. And we subtracted from that my expenses, which was $206,217, which is roughly a 50% profit margin. Now, profit is still not what you really get to take home. It's just revenue minus expenses. We still need to pay taxes on that profit. So let's talk about that. Okay, but first of all, disclaimer, I am not an accountant nor a tax expert, and none of this constitutes tax advice. In fact, I really highly encourage you to get an accountant of your own. I'm just going to explain my tax situation as far as I understand it. Okay, some technical stuff you got to know before I explain this. My business is now a corporation. In Canada, we don't call it an LLC, but it's basically an LLC. Before, I was a sole proprietor, meaning I was doing business in my own name. And my business's income was counted as my personal income as far as taxes were concerned. In 2022, though, my business officially became a corporation. Basically, what this means is now I pay taxes twice, once as a business, and then once I pay myself as an individual as well. So let's talk about the business side first. So as we just covered, my business's profit in the 22-23 fiscal year was $220,858. Now, the tax that my business paid on that income was $26,966. Now, I'm considered a small business in Ontario where my business is based, so my corporate tax rate works out to around 15%. I can't tell you how or why, that's for the accountants to know, but that's what it is. Now again, I'm not a tax expert, but this is why I started a corporation as opposed to continuing on as a sole proprietor. Partially for legal reasons, because it is advisable to have your business be a separate legal entity than yourself, but also because of the tax benefits, if we're honest. If I would have claimed this as my personal income. Based on some quick research using my favorite online tax calculator, I would have paid more like $82,242 in tax if this was personal income. But with my business being a corporation and paying corporate tax instead of personal tax, obviously that constitutes quite a savings. Now, obviously it's not quite that easy. It's not just this huge hack to like save 30 grand in taxes. Money that belongs to my business can't just be used for personal reasons without me paying personal income tax on it, which in my mind is fair and makes sense. Doing it this way allows me to keep money in my business to reinvest for future projects and some other stuff we're going to talk about more later. So with taxes dealt with, this results in $193,892 in net income for my business. Now that we've covered the business side of things, let's talk personal. In 2023, I ended up paying myself $75,000 in personal income. I do this in dividends, not wages. Doing it this way means
my RRSP contributions don't increase and I don't contribute to EI or CPP, which means I can't get those paid out to me, but I've set up my own independent savings venues, so I don't have to worry about that stuff.
If you're not Canadian, those acronyms mean nothing to you, but for the few of you watching, hopefully that was helpful. After charitable donations and other relevant deductions, my tax owing nets out to $6,221, which if you do the math, you will see that my net take-home income after taxes in 2023 was $68,779. So to explain one more time, my business makes this much. I pay this much taxes on it. This is my business's net income. Out of that, I pay myself $75,000 in dividends. I pay this much in taxes, which means I take this much home to my personal bank account. So there you have it. That is my take-home income, $68,779. Though, as you might remember, the business had $193,892 after tax. But of course, I paid myself $75,000, leaving $118,892 in the business. Now, in my mind, there are three purposes for this money that my business has earned, but that I don't pay myself. One is that I reinvest in my business, like literally in an investment account. My financial advisor manages this, and it's essentially in like mutual funds. This helps the money to grow more than if it was just sitting in like a savings account, for example. Second purpose of this money, I keep it as a cash float. It is hugely important to me that my team gets paid on time, even if clients pay us late or not at all. So I always keep enough money in my checking account so that I can cover those expenses, even if the money that I'm expecting to come in doesn't. Third thing is I keep this money for future projects. I don't know, but someday in the future, I might want to create physical products or get a studio space or maybe host an event. Stuff like that takes upfront investment. And so I want to keep some money aside in case I want to do that in the future. The big question that I think a lot of people would wonder is why I only pay myself $75,000, which nets out to $68,000, which for my Americans watching is just about $50K US, when my business has like almost $200,000 that I could possibly pay myself. Now, one thing is paying myself that money personally means I'm paying tax on it twice, right? Once as a business and then again as an individual. And so that's part of why I'm investing some of this money under my business's name, because then at least for the time being, I'm just paying tax on it once, with the idea being that someday in the future, if I ever choose to stop working, I'll have money saved there that I can continue to pay myself in dividends, and I'll pay the personal income tax on it then when I'm presumably making less money. Now, ideally, this would be in my retirement, but you never know because YouTube can be fickle. It's really hard to predict how long I'll be able to do this career. Obviously, I would love to do it for as long as possible, but I do want to prepare myself for the eventuality that my views might go down or I stop getting as many brand deals. And because this career can be so unpredictable is a huge reason why I'm so passionate about living within or really like beneath my means. I really try hard not to fall prey to lifestyle inflation, because if I don't, it means that I can save the majority of my income for someday in the future when I might not be making as much. Moral of the story is I have a creator business that generated just about $200,000 in profit in the last fiscal year, and I live in a 500 square foot condo that my husband and I bought 5 years ago for $295,000 and continue to drive a 2010 Chevrolet Cobalt that we inherited from his grandpa, and I pretty much mostly direct the money that I do take out of the business towards being able to travel in my van. Because for one, I honestly don't really want a big house or a fancy car. I mean, like, this van is really my dream vehicle, so. And also because honestly, this YouTube success kind of feels like winning the lottery to me, and I don't want to squander it. I treat it like a windfall in my life because I really don't know if it is yet. This could be my new normal. Maybe this will continue every year for the rest of my working life, but it also could just be like a really, really great moment in time that's not going to last forever, and I want to prepare for that possibility. If there's one takeaway other creators would have from this video, I would hope it would be this. Even as your income grows, if you can continue to live well below your means and save the majority of your income, I really think that is the most responsible strategy, and I'm sure my future self will be grateful for it. And honestly, the thing is, I really truly feel like I have way more than enough. I'll be honest, sometimes I get caught up in this feeling that I just need to grow, because like that's the thing to do. But then I have to remind myself that I already have more than enough, and that is such a privilege and such a comfort. So I hope me sharing this openly has been a helpful insight for you into what the financials of a creator business looks like. If you want a more detailed look at how I actually generated this revenue, like a full breakdown of my income streams, I made a whole video about that you'll probably like too. But yeah, if you found this helpful, I'd really appreciate if you'd give it a like, if you would subscribe, if you'd come back for more. I'm really passionate about being super transparent about what it's really like to be a full-time content creator, because I know you're on the path to being that, or maybe you already are and you're just curious to see how someone else does it. Well, I like to share that kind of thing. So check out this video, subscribe for more, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.